everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Carmilla and this is Hasty Books. Because we are almost halfway through October, I thought I'd do a little catch up halfway through Victober. And how has it been going? Not that well, but I have some excuses, totally valid. I've been reading Chinese literature and I'm in the midst of the Latinx readathon right now that ends in about 2 days. So I'm hoping for the second half of October I can really focus on Victorian books. But that said, I have finished one novel and I want to say like 4 or 5 other ones on the go. So, I'm dipping my toes in, I'm getting excited about it, and I will be, diving much more seriously into it later on. But I wanted to give you kind of initial thoughts about how I'm finding the intros to all these books and also my thoughts on the one novel that I finished. So the first novel that I did finish was the shortest one, so that's why. It is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Fanu. I have mixed thoughts about this book. It is a short novella almost about basically a vampire. It's very like gothic. I'll start with the things I did like about it. The mood setting was just done so well. You really feel like you're at the Schloss and the dark evenings, in the room and the heaviness of what's happening. And I thought that was really well done, well written. I really enjoyed the idea of this precursor of vampire novels that have become such a big thing in obviously more recent years. But, from then, that gothic fear, and yes, there's something that was really well done about it. However, that kind of leaves me a little bit to the point that I was a little bit uncertain about and uncomfortable with, and it was the portrayal of I guess it's almost like a lesbian kind of relationship that I thought felt really bizarre. And I think that's maybe mainly because this was written by a man, but the sensuality and the sexuality that the main character Laura feels with Carmilla was sometimes kind of very beautiful, but also really creepy. And obviously that is set by the predator-like behavior of this character. Obviously we all know where this is going, obviously, that about the vampire, but also the time of the era that this novel was written in. I believe it came out in the second half of the 1800s. So I just don't think it was like meant to be this like beautiful like relationship. I feel so confused about it because yeah, it feels almost like queerbaiting, but also almost like, oh, that's also like an animalistic behavior. Like I feel like you can interpret it many ways because of the writer, because of the era, because of the context. There's a lot that I felt very uncomfortable with. That said, I still found the idea very interesting of the vampire novella. I would just love to know what you thought, because I'm still trying to make kind of sense of my thoughts and my feelings. And this is kind of one of these books I would love to talk to someone about, because I don't know if I'm overthinking it or if I'm underthinking it, or like the perspective that I'm bringing to this. So yeah, if you've read it, please let me know what you thought. If you agree with me or disagree with me, I will be happy to hear any opinions. The only physical book that I'm currently reading is Middlemarch by George Eliot. So I've only started it, so I'm only in the first part, which is Miss Brooke. I also don't know how to feel about this book, because obviously I only started it. It's not very exciting. It feels a little bit like, yeah, it's definitely building up like the setting and the characters, but because I'm not excited about what's going on, it also feels like, what kind of beginning of a novel is this? I do feel like North and South was starting a little bit like this, but I cared about the main character more, while this, it doesn't feel like, even Miss Brooke, I'm not feeling pulled in yet. That said, there were some really good bits of writing in it. There were some lines, actually. There's one of my favorite lines. It was hardly a year since they had come to live at Tipton Grange with their uncle, a man nearly 60, of acquiescent temper, miscellaneous opinions, and uncertain vote. I just thought that line was just so funny and well put, like as a description of this uncle that they've gone to live with. So yeah, pros and cons with this one up to now. there's a lot of things, like even this copy, it just doesn't read that well. I'm finding it also a bit slow to read. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel like are not helping me, but I still want to carry on, and I'm hoping I'll be able to finish it by the end of the month and let you know what I thought. I'm also currently reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë, which I'm really, really enjoying. And I feel like everything that I'm not really keen with Middlemarch is actually really different with this novel, is that I felt immediately at ease with this novel. Like the writing felt very accessible, which I didn't expect because I sometimes like period writing can be a little jarring, but I don't know, I find it very easy to read. I'm already pulled into Jane Eyre. I didn't expect it to be quite so long, like maybe again, it's a long kind of beginning. I thought it would be a little faster into the house, but it is really setting up Jane as a character, and I'm already kind of rooting for her, and I think that that's a great way to pull me in. And I'm so excited to continue. Like once I'm done this Latinx readathon, I cannot wait to dive more into Jane Eyre because that's definitely the novel I'm quite excited about this month. I've also started listening to the audiobook for Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. That's another one that I thought immediately I was pulled in. And I think it's the characters, the writing, like it felt so almost very familiar, like it's just so easy to get pulled into it. And I'm only a couple chapters in, so I think it was like last week I was cooking and I felt like starting it, so I put the audiobook on while I was cooking and I listened to maybe the first 2 chapters, and it felt like at the moment they're not connected, but I'm guessing they will be in a longer, maybe short term, but like once I continue. But yeah, I'm really keen on both storyline and I just want to continue to see what's happening. So yeah, up to now I'm really enjoying it. I have high hopes for it and I'm very excited that I took Kate's advice to read this novel. Oh, and I almost forgot that I am about halfway through A Beleaguered City by Margaret Oliphant. I almost forgot because it is forgettable. Up to now, I'm not gonna lie, it's very, very flat. It feels very bland, the writing. It's a really short novel, so that's why I feel a bit weird about it, because I'm maybe halfway through and it still feels quite flat. But I'm hoping it'll be maybe like Carmilla, well, it'll have quite a punch because it feels quite gothic. Like there's definitely like something out there lurking that I'm not yet sure what it is. And so there is that kind of anticipation that's building. But yeah, the writing, I'm finding it very, I don't know, there's something about it that feels almost like toneless. The one thing I am enjoying is that it's clearly set in France and there's a lot of French in the writing. And then I was kind of wondering a little bit how people who are reading it who don't speak French are getting, because sometimes there's some stuff that obviously for me it comes like equally into my brain, like the French and English. So I don't know if there's bits that are potentially missing for people who are only reading in English. I'm assuming not, but I was wondering. If you've read it, I know Margaret Oliphant and loads of people are reading her, but I think a lot of people are reading very different stories by her because she wrote so much. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm probably gonna finish quickly because it's really short. I still have hopes that it will kind of have a good ending and I will get pulled into it, but as of now it's a little bit so. That said, I'm quite excited about all of these books that I've mentioned. Audiobooks and physical books and ebooks. I think it's quite a good set, and it's just nice to be immersing myself into this kind of time period and this kind of energy. It feels very like Octobery, and the weather like in Scotland is gone in a little bit more, you know, toward like the darker side of the year, and you know we're up into our nice jumpers. So yeah, it feels nice to have like all of that atmosphere. And yeah, it's going up so up to now, my reading, but I'm hoping next 2 weeks will kind of go smoother. And yeah, please come back at the end of the month to hear my thoughts, you know, on the books. Hopefully I'll have finished all of the ones I've talked about. I did mean to potentially get into The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope, but there's no way I'm gonna get to that this month. I'll maybe keep it for the next Victober or for at some point in 2022. But yes, if you're reading any of these at the moment, let me know what you're also thinking as initial thoughts, or you know, how is your Victober going? Let me know. Just say hi. In the meantime, you know, enjoy your week, evening of reading, and hasty event.